Now, Pakistan is not necessarily on the global map as a hub for improv comedy, but that doesn't stop homegrown talent carving out a bigger future for the craft. Comedian Natalia Gul has performed in major cities of Pakistan and internationally and has said that there's a growing audience for it. But she feels like she has to filter what she says a lot of the time, especially when it comes to culture. She's set up her own workshops now to help the next generation of funny people become confident and successful comedians. So let's hear from her. Natalia, hello and welcome to Morning Asia. Now, a lot of people go from, perhaps doing one creative job to then moving into comedy or acting, but you've gone from dentistry to stand-up. I wonder if there are any similarities in both of those roles.
Yeah, I think my mother says the right thing. She's like, both of your professions are meant to give people a smile. So I think there is a correlation.
Oh, that's such a lovely way of putting it. Tell me, how did it all sort of get started? When did you discover that you were funny?
I think from a very early age. So I was in my dramatic society in my school and I used to be part of every play. But at home, I would mimic every uncle that would come over, everyone that would come over, and I would just be the clown of the house. But then later on, I did a lot of commercial theater. And that's how I got discovered by Faiza Salim, who was currently recruiting girls for this all girls comedy troupe. So that's how the journey started.
Yeah, let's talk about that comedy troupe. Is it called the Kawatoons? South
Yes.
Asia's first all-female improv troupe. That's pretty exciting, but also when you're doing something for the first time, especially when you're putting yourself out there, it can feel quite nerve-wracking. How did you feel about it?
So improv is comparatively very easy than stand up because in improv you're just playing a new character. It's never yourself. But doing stand up is just really difficult because you're just so vulnerable on stage and you're telling your story. And stand up is a really lonely process compared to improv, where you have your girls with you, there's a whole support system. But stand up is like, writing alone and then performing alone and then facing all the criticism alone. I think that is the difficult part.
It's interesting you say that because a lot of people, I think, would think that improv is a lot harder to do because you don't necessarily have a rehearsed script. And often, if you're interacting with the audience, you don't know what's coming your way.
Yeah, it's still, I think, easy because you're not telling your story, you're a character. So I can be anybody, and I'm just, it's very comfortable playing somebody else.
Yeah.
But just being in my own skin is the most difficult part, and just telling my own truth is the hardest thing.
Yeah. So there are parts around the world where stand-up is big, New York, London, Edinburgh for the festival. But Karachi, Lahore, Islamabad, not necessarily known worldwide as a spot for stand-up. How have you found navigating doing comedy in Pakistan?
So I had a really difficult time doing comedy in Pakistan. I faced a lot of backlash and criticism and also threats for a comedy set that I did for being Sindhi, that is one of my caste. But then after that incident, I realized there are not enough safe spaces in Pakistan. So I went on to begin my own startup, which is called the Jungle PK. And we have been throwing Pakistan's longest comedy open mics, and I have incubated over 100 comics over 7 years. And it also includes women. We've also given free comedy workshops to women in partnership with British Council. So I think I'm the kind of person who's not really worried about the problems. I try to find a solution. So just to make space for myself that I needed more practice ground by having open mics, I started this business and now it's flourishing and we have contributed a lot to this industry as well.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry to hear you had to go through that early on. Often comedians or people within the arts will use their pain, will use their difficulty, in this case around culture and caste, and they'll use that to kind of inform the way that they perform. Do you think that's happened for you?
Yes, I realized what is okay for the larger audience and what is not okay because we have been performing in a small room, and I'm privileged enough to belong to like 1% of Pakistan, and not all Pakistan thinks the same way and is not going to be accepting me for saying things on stage which I am very comfortable in my own setting with my friends, or even in a small stand-up room. So I realized how I needed to be more palatable for the larger audience. So I've crafted my stand up accordingly now, so that, I become a household name rather than being like, oh, let's not watch her. She's bad influence.
Right. Okay. So you want to keep all of your well, all the aunties and the uncles and anyone that comes to watch. You try to keep them happy as best possible.
I try.
Yeah, you try. But especially when you're a comedian, you can't keep everyone happy because what one person finds funny, someone else might find offensive.
Yeah, 100%. I realized after the trolling and the threats, I grew a thicker skin. So I'm very comfortable with myself and also posting online, because you are never going to get a praise. People are just always going to be there to criticize you. So
Yeah.
I've learned the hard way.
What were some of the topics? We don't need to go into detail, but kind of the headline topics that you explored that people weren't happy with.
So I belong to the Sindhi community, and I made jokes about my own self. So my own community didn't like it. So that was really, I was like, the jokes are not intentional. The only thing that I really wanted was just to bring laughter. And there's a larger audience that really enjoyed my jokes. But at that point, the negativity is what strikes more than people supporting you.
Yeah. You have done a little bit of work internationally as well and abroad. What's the difference between performing here and performing wherever else you've been, like in the UK, for example?
The audience is very receptive, but I was under the impression that women comedians are safer abroad, but they're not. So I heard stories about people following them after the show and harassing them. So I was like, women in comedy are not safe anywhere in the world. So that was really shocking for me. But overall, the experience was good. I had to perform in English, so that was something new. But I did a lot of jokes that could, that they would find relatable. So that was the hard part, but I think I did crack it.
That's good to hear. Yeah, I mean, safety is something, it's obviously incredibly important. And hearing that's quite shocking, actually, because having lived in London myself and having watched so much comedy, I was sort of unaware that there was this, perhaps trickier side behind the scenes. And I guess, it's not for everyone, but it's your lived experience, so it's important to talk about it. What's the sort of longer term goal? Do you feel like you have the audience and the space and the confidence to be able to grow this and continue? Or do you feel like there's a bit of a ceiling, when it comes to, wanting to try and push this through new boundaries?
The larger goal would be, I have not done my special yet, even though I have material. But it's just that sometimes I think that I'm not ready. So that's something that is in pipeline, to have my own special and do a tour with it, and to get the whole thing recorded on YouTube and publish it. So that's a larger goal. But life comes and life happens. So currently I'm expecting a baby. Yes, so it's never that easy for us women, because there's so many things that we have to take care of. Like, I was just thinking, if there was a male comic, he would not have to worry about what to cook before leaving the house. So you have to make sure the work life and the family life is balanced, and and then having a family and just to manage things around it. I just don't want to lose my identity. So that's something that I'm really worried about. But let's see. Currently my baby bump is giving me a lot of jokes, so I have written like a pregnancy set already that I performed.
Yeah, I was going to say, whatever you're going through in life often is a big inspiration for comedians or actors or anyone artistic. So, so pregnancy has informed or inspired your most recent work, has it?
Yeah, I was so unsure. I was like, I don't know how I'll be able to perform, if I'll be in the same mode. But so far it's been good. I have been creative, I have been active, I have been performing, I have been curating shows for other artists. So far it's good. But the larger goal would be to, like, as you said, that Pakistani scene is not that big right now, and we are really trying on the grassroots level. It's just that we don't have any support from any bigger brands or sponsors, because stand-up is still it's a very underground art form. Again, it's not super palatable for the larger audience, so that's something that we struggle with. So every show that we do are self-funded, they're only based on tickets, so we don't really have like a bigger support to really grow the scene.
Yeah, those stories of, a struggling actor or a struggling comedian, they often end in great success. So don't stop, this could just be the beginning of something a lot bigger. Now, I've been watching some of your stuff online, and one of the things that you joke about, I want to talk to you about. In organising those kind of events, as you say, it's all self-funded. There's a certain amount of financial risk in it. How do you do that in a community, in a culture where being on time is not necessarily something that everyone is on board with? So, you've got a time slot of wherever you're going to be holding this show, and you want people to turn up.
Are you talking about this interview that started late?
I mean, touche, you're not wrong.
So no, so I'm very particular about time. There is something that a lot of people say, that you're not for Pakistan because you do not operate on standard Pakistani time. But we've kind of set a precedent where I start my shows on time, and my audience also knows that. So they're also there on time, which is really like something like that is not common in Pakistan.
Yeah.
But my audience shows up on time, my comics show up on time, and I also have like a penalty that I put the comics on when they don't arrive on time, like they're blacklisted for two other shows, next two shows. But no, like I'm very particular about it. It's really rare to find people with the same work ethic, but I think once you set the community, I have set the standards for even my comics also know that, and they have also started implementing this in their daily life where they're also on time. So I think the change starts with one person, and we're trying to change that.
Yeah, no, I'm on board with that. I think one of the first things that I learned how to say in Urdu was jaldi jaldi when I first moved to Pakistan, and it's been used quite a lot, I think. Just lastly,
Very useful word for sure.
yeah. Just lastly, before we let you go, I'm sure that there's going to be people that watch this interview, girls, men or women, but obviously we're talking about women in comedy here, that maybe want to get into it. And putting nerves aside, perhaps the barrier is that they feel like maybe Pakistan isn't the place to do that. What would you say to them?
There are concerns. Firstly, the family is not okay with it. Um, it's sad that there are a lot of things that we have to fight in order to do something like this. So art form is not really art, particularly is not as appreciated in Pakistan. But things are changing since it's a world of TikTok and Reels. So things have become different since when I started it and since I got trolled. I think if I had released the video right now, it would have been a different time. So for the girls, I would say just don't think too much about it. I see so much power in doing stand up. I've seen the few girls that we gave the workshop to, their life has changed. They have
Yeah.
become a different person altogether. There's so much power in laughing at yourself.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
by that, you don't need to put anything online, but just come to the open mic, sign up, do 5 minutes, and you'll feel so good about yourself.
Yeah, no, that's great advice, isn't it? Like, you just got to stay true to what makes you happy. Oh, well, Natalia, it was lovely catching up, and thank you for calling
Likewise.
in and having a catch up. And best of luck whenever your next show is or your next group session. Best of luck and thank you. There we are. So if you fancy an improv workshop, then Natalia is the person to contact. No complaints there about someone in front of them reclining their chair or anything like that. Right, we've made it to the end of another week. It's finally the weekend. I hope you've got some fun plans ahead. No doubt some sort of football for many of you. Have a good one, and I'll see you on Monday.